Turn now to a developing story here at noon. 19 dogs are safe after being rescued from deplorable conditions in a Katy home. Constable Alan Rosen's office calling this home a house of horrors. For the K9s, that is, Fox 26's Jade Flurry joins us live outside of Precinct 1 headquarters with the latest. Jade.
DeLong, Constable Alan Rosen says that it was actually a neighbor who called Precinct 1 alerting them about the squalid conditions that these dogs were living in. But you guys, just take a look at the video that shows how appalling those conditions actually were. 19 dogs were rescued Thursday from this dilapidated home in Katy. Investigators described the dogs as distressed and malnourished with mange and infested with fleas. Parts of the video show areas where the dogs actually chewed holes through the wall to get in and out of the house. Constable Alan Rosen says that the dog owners left the house on May 10th and Precinct 1 was called to the home on May 15th.
So that's 5 days that the animals were left.
I can hear the sound.
And we did get a seizure warrant for the animals. We did get into the home, and we found 3 dead dogs that were decaying in various states of decaying.
Now, there will be a hearing on Wednesday to determine if those dog owners will be allowed to get the dogs back. Reporting from downtown Houston, Jade Flurry, Fox 26 News.
Okay, more details to come in that one. Jade Flurry live with the latest. Jade, thank you.
Standing water. I'm right here, sorry. Coming in. You're good.
May 15th, and when our officers arrived, they saw animals that had been treated cruelly. They saw animals that were running around. We went and got a seizure warrant for the animals. We seized 19 animals at this location. The people that lived there left on May 10th, they say. So we got there on the 15th. So that's 5 days that the animals were left abandoned. And we did get a seizure warrant for the animals. We did get into the home, and we found 3 dead dogs that were decaying in various states of decaying. The animals that we actually seized were transported to the Houston SPCA for medical evaluations. Our criminal investigation ensued from there. And so we will, once we get all of the facts back, once we get all the medical determinations back, we will see if we're going to file criminal charges of cruelty to an animal, cruelty to an animal by confinement. It's sad because these people left this house and left these animals behind to fend for themselves. And as we all know, animals cannot fend for themselves. Especially when they're domesticated, they need food, water, shelter, and health care. And, y'all have heard me say this many, many times. Dogs and animals don't have a voice. We are always going to be their voice and fight for animals, always. And so, thankfully, if people see animal cruelty going on. We have investigators who are assigned full-time that this is all they do, is go and investigate animal cruelty cases. You can contact our hotline or the Houston SPCA at 713-869-7722. If charged, and it really determines the severity of the medical conditions of the animals that were seized. It could be anywhere from a misdemeanor to a felony. It really all depends on the severity of what we determine in the investigation. So it's kind of all over until we get all of the medical records back, until we get through concluding the investigation. We won't know what, if anything, we're going to charge. My guess is that it's going to lead to charges, but I certainly don't want to get ahead of it until we have all the facts in front of us.
Can you tell them what you saw? Like when we watched the video, it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, no, it was the animals had chewed through the walls of the house, and they were going in and out of the house. The animals had, we suspected they had mange. They were infested with fleas. They were dehydrated. It's terrible. I mean, who leaves 19 animals behind to fend for themselves after? I mean, who just walks away from that? I don't get it. But you know, the house was in horrible condition. Apparently, the owners got foreclosed on and opted to just walk out and leave. And it's so easy. I mean, you can get these dogs adopted. You can surrender them to the Houston SPCA. You can find rescue groups that are interested in taking the animals and will care for them until they get adopted. There's too many avenues that you can take other than just abandoning these animals to die. And so, you know, it's just too easy. My message is, if you don't want your animal anymore, if you want to surrender your animal, it's so easy to do so. You just go online and look for the animal group that likes that breed or manages that breed, and they will come pick the animal up. There's no reason to abandon an animal. There's no reason to cruelly treat an animal, and we're just not going to put up with it. And so we have investigators that's all they do, is go out and try to locate people that have mistreated animals or are treating them poorly, and we'll seize the animals and potentially charge you.
Who made the call to you guys? Was it a neighbor or a resident in the area?
It was a neighbor, I believe. It was a neighbor that saw the animals just kind of rolling around, and they were concerned, and so they contacted the Houston SPCA that initially sent out civilian investigators first, and then they go out and assess the situation and call us if they see criminality. And so thankfully, and this is usually the case, this is probably the case 99% of the time, is we see wonderful citizens and people that love animals that see something wrong and call us to report it. You know, most people love animals, but we also know that people that mistreat animals is a precursor for other things. You know, we've seen many people that have become, you know, people that harm people start out by harming animals. And so we take these things very seriously, and we're going to always be the voice for animals, always.
I believe there's going to be a hearing on Wednesday to determine if these people can get their dogs back.
Correct.
Will charges be potentially filed before then?
If we get all of the medical records back and the assessments from the veterinarians, and they give us a determination of exactly all the things that are wrong with the animals, we may charge then. My guess is they probably won't show up to court, but they do have a seizure hearing that's going to be on the 24th, which is Wednesday, and you know, they have to show up and plead their case, and we're going to show up and show all the stuff that we saw there. So my guess is they won't show up. They now live in Liberty County, and because they haven't been charged, we haven't identified them, but we know who they are. We know, you know, where they are. Absolutely.
Do you know the exact address of the home in Katy where the dogs were
It was
found?
19,000 Canyon.
Yeah, we got it for you.
Yeah. 19,000 block of Cypress Canyon Drive.
Do you have a more specific, a more specific address than that?
Yeah, that's
That's just the block.
yeah.
You have the actual home.
We'll get it
19-311.
to you.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to say it on TV, but we'll give it to you.
So the owner of the house, are they the owners of the dogs too?
Well, they're not the owner of the house. They were renting the house, and so they were foreclosed on because they apparently weren't paying rent. And again, if you can't afford to have an animal, there are plenty of places that you can surrender the animal properly. And that's all they had to do was call the Houston SPCA or other dog rescue groups, and they would have come out and taken the animals, no questions asked. And so they were renting, got foreclosed on, were kicked out, and they just left everything behind, especially these precious animals.
Despite what happens on Wednesday, do you think they should be allowed to have the dogs back?
No, I absolutely do not. I mean, if you're not going to properly take care of an animal medically, if you're not going to take care of an animal with food and shelter, and you allow these animals to be in the condition that they were, you do not need to be a dog owner or an animal owner, period, for that matter. No, I don't think the animals are going to be going back. In fact, my prediction is they probably won't show up for court.
They said that they, I think, left the house on the 10th, and then investigators went on the 15th. Do you have any doubts about that timeline, just considering the condition of the house? It's hard to believe that anyone was living in there.
I've seen people live in just as bad of conditions. It is hard, and that's what we have determined so far, but we're still investigating, and we're still talking to neighbors and still trying to figure out specifically when they last saw them there. If they were served with an eviction. There's many things that go into determining when somebody was there, but what we've determined thus far is the 10th, May 10th is the date in which they left. Yeah.
Crazy
That's
stuff.
it.